From a very young age, I always knew that cancer has always affected my life since I was very young. To my name, Isabel, I was named after my grandmother who died of breast cancer 7 years before I was born. To the fact that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer the first time when I was 5 years old. Unfortunately, when I was 16 years old, my mother passed away of breast cancer. So I'd kind of always known about the BRCA1 mutation and the general, the ideas behind it. The test started coming out when I was around 20, 21 years old. There was a lot of apprehension about doing the test at that time because in the early aughts, late 90s, the problem was that there weren't laws protecting you from one, being discriminated against by employers, two, being discriminated against by insurance companies. Them saying, well, you know what, we know you're probably gonna get cancer, we just are not gonna even deal with you. And being 20 years old, getting ready to graduate college, I didn't want that looming over my head also. So I kind of chose not to get tested at that time. Then when I was 23 years old, I was getting ready to get married. I found out that my eldest cousin was diagnosed with breast cancer. Then it was later found that she had the BRCA1 gene. Then my other cousins started getting tested and they all found they were positive, had preventative surgery, found later in pathology that they actually had breast cancer and it saved them from having to go through chemotherapy. When I was 26, it was kind of, all right, the laws are changing a little. Unless an insurance company specifically asks you, do you have a genetic mutation, you don't have to tell them. It's not considered fraud. So I got the genetic test and it turned out I was positive also. At this point, because of also my age, a lot of doctors did not want to do the prophylactic surgery because they didn't want to, one, take away my ability to have children, two, throw me into early on-stage menopause because I was only 26 years old. So they kind of talked me into doing high-risk surveillance, which, if you aren't familiar, high-risk surveillance is a little different from going and having surgery. It's a lot of commitment. It's doctor's appointments every 4 months with specialists. You alternate between a gynecological oncologist and an oncologist that specializes in breast cancer. So through this, at the age of 29, I was diagnosed with stage 3C ovarian cancer because of a spike in my CA-125. I had very mild symptoms, but nothing that people would really kind of jump at. Like I had lethargy and some weight gain. I kind of knew there was something off, but it was stuff that could be swept under a rug, and most doctors would have swept it under a rug because they didn't know, and they wouldn't know what it was. And so because I was seeing a gynecological oncologist, that saved my life. And so in turn, having been tested for the genetic marker saved my life.